you know what, this has got to be a respectful place. All Albertans are equal. All Albertans must be respected. All Albertans must be treated with dignity. And if a member of our party has fallen short, we will be having a discussion about correcting that in the future.
Yesterday I told you about Sarah Hoffman. She's the new NDP Health Minister in Alberta, and she recently announced that she was banning a type of cigarette called menthol cigarettes for adult Albertans. So she's not just banning it for kids, she's banning it for adults. She's telling adult Albertans they're not allowed to make the choice in their own lives. They either lack the judgment or the morality or the common sense to make the right choice for their own health. Now, I think this is authoritarian and invasive and destroys our civil liberties and our personal autonomy, but there's an extra dose of irony when all this personal health advice is coming from someone like Sarah Hoffman. In 99% of the cases, I wouldn't mention her appearance, but take a look. She obviously makes very poor health choices all the time. She's fat. That can't be healthy. So either she's making poor choices or lacks willpower or something else, but she's doing all the things she's condemning the rest of us for doing. But because she's a powerful politician, she can boss us around and we wouldn't dare boss her around, or we couldn't have the power to. That was strange. Anyways, I did my commentary on that yesterday, and an Alberta PC volunteer echoed my comments, pointing out it's a little bit ironic for someone who makes such poor health choices in her own life telling the rest of us how to live. Well, it hit the fan. Now, I say again, this PC party activist is not a paid staffer, not an MLA, not anyone in the legislature, and yet within hours, the media party declared war on him in defense of the NDP. Metro newspapers, the Canadian Press, that's a national newswire, did a story on it, sent nationally. Today, the National Post did a massive story, and they actually quoted some Ontario expert saying that his comments about her being fat were misogynistic. That means hating women. I get calling him anti-fat, though I don't think he was making that point. He was saying it's a little bit rich and hypocritical for a fat person to tell the rest of us how to live our lives. That's not necessarily anti-fat, that's anti-hypocrisy. But I get calling him anti-fat, but calling him sexist, calling him anti-women, it's so bizarre and extreme and untrue. A lot of people talk about weight in politics, and usually when it comes to matters of hypocrisy. Take, for example, Pauline Marois, the former premier of Quebec, who's now the leader of the Parti Québécois. She's a woman, of course. She criticized the new Liberal male health minister in Quebec for being fat, saying he's leading a bad example.
Moi, je crois qu'un ministre de la Santé a un devoir, effectivement, d'être exemplaire. Comme pour moi, d'ailleurs, un ministre de l'Éducation a un devoir d'être exemplaire, envoyer ses enfants à l'école publique, par exemple.
Is that sexist? Is that misogynist? Of course not. Of course, sometimes the insults are just pure ad hominem, like when the media party had at Rob Ford. Stephen Marsh wrote a huge article for the Globe and Mail calling him fat more than a dozen times, just to make fun of him. The Toronto Star actually broadcast a cell phone video taken by someone showing Rob Ford going into a KFC, and they had a good laugh at how tough it is for that fat guy to avoid the fried food. There's no public interest there, no political value. Rob Ford wasn't telling other people what to eat or not, but they just had a good laugh at the fat guy. How many stories have been written about Mike Duffy's weight? 200? 500? Again, completely irrelevant to public interest or the matters that he's on trial for, but let's just have fun with the fat guy. Same thing with the former premier in Alberta, Ralph Klein. Even Stephen Harper, who's not particularly chunky, is routinely mocked by the Liberal press when he looks a little bit portly. My point is that this new prissiness and daintiness by the media about calling someone fat only applies to their friends. In this case, an NDP cabinet minister bossing the rest of us around. The media party has no compunction calling people fat when they don't like them, even if there's no connection to any fat-oriented issue like banning personal choices in lifestyle. I find it bizarre that the media, instead of scrutinizing the new NDP government, prefers to scrutinize the critics of the NDP government. Typically, we rely on the media to add a layer of accountability and question asking of a government to the official opposition. But what I see forming in Alberta is a media party doing the opposite, playing the role of defender, and in this case, attack dog. I think it's a problem. It's a problem for democracy, and I think it's going to be a problem for Alberta as it heads into a recession. For TheRebel.media, I'm Ezra Levant.